live.
Live.
All right, welcome. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another issue or another episode of This Week in the Final Call newspaper. I am Jahi Muhammad. We have a new addition to the team this week, Sister Kava Muhammad, and of course our producer, super producer, and director, and camera operator, and all that good stuff, Brother Rashad Sharif Muhammad. This is a weekly podcast that we started doing at the beginning of the year to highlight issues or articles that's in the latest issue of the Final Call newspaper. We have been blessed, brother, for the last 3 weeks to broadcast from this beautiful facility here, the Cafe Ulu, which all of us are members of Cafe Ulu and spend a lot of money up in here on drinks and
what's going on here?
you can catch up. And we want to thank our illustrious host, the manager, one of the stalwarts of the Ulu movement, Us Lifting Us, our brother Ken Hilliard. He's trying to be kind of shy over here. He's gonna dip in here in a few moments. But what we do every week is go into the Final Call newspaper, look at some of the articles and the issues that are being brought up. We encourage all of you to get your copy of the Final Call newspaper. Cafe Ulu is a distributor of the Final Call newspaper. So if you're here in Atlanta, Southwest Atlanta, you can come by 2036 Sylvan Road in Atlanta 30310, right here on Sylvan Road near Sylvan and Arthur Langford Parkway, also known as Highway 166. You can come by here. If you're on the east side of Atlanta and you're near Stone Mountain, Lithonia, out in that area, you can go by Black Dot Cultural Center and Bookstore and pick up your latest copy of the Final Call newspaper. Also, you can go by Muhammad Mosque number 15, the Southern Regional Headquarters of the Nation of Islam under the leadership of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan at 3642 Camelton Road, and pick up your copy of the Final Call. Or you can go, if you're in the Bluff, you're in Northwest Atlanta, you can go to Blue Seas Express and pick up your latest copy. It's 801 Joseph E. Boone Boulevard, Atlanta 30314. So no matter where you are, and then of course you will see thousands of FOI and MGT that have their copy, the latest issue of the Final Call newspaper. No matter where you go, no matter where you work, no matter what organization you belong to, one of us will be there. One of us is there. All you got to do is ask. You just say Assalamu alaikum, and then somebody will answer you and have your Final Call newspaper for you. So, as I mentioned, we have our addition this week. She's actually been with us since the beginning. Right. We had to talk her out of being camera shy. But Sister Kava Muhammad, who also serves as one of the facilitators in the MGT class. So it's so interesting, especially with this issue. This issue is volume number 38, issue number 16. Volume 38, issue number 16, and on the cover is Acts of Kindness. Right during the festive season, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan spoke, and he gave us all, under his direction, a directive to pass on acts of kindness. That doesn't cost anything. Right. to show acts of kindness, a warm smile, a friendly word of upliftment and an inspiration and encouragement to all that you come across, not just certain people that you like, but giving a warm smile to everyone that you come across. Acts of kindness, in addition to other ways that we can show kindness. So I know Sister Kava is very happy with this issue. Why are you so elated about this particular issue, Sister Kava?
Well, let me just say greetings of peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
I am elated, and I'm grateful to Brother Jaheem, Brother Richard, for allowing a little bit of feminine energy on the show. The brothers have been holding
that's
down
called balance,
for the
right?
last
It's called balance.
weeks. I've been loving the show. I am elated because, as Brother Jaheem did mention, I serve as one of the facilitators for the MGT and GCC processing class. MGT, GCC stands for Muslim Girl Training General Civilization class. And I am looking at the front cover, and I have actually what we call 4 new graduates who recently graduated out of the processing class. And so they're on the cover because they came right in working, and they heard the directive of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan to present acts of kindness. And of course, we have to give it up to 10,000 Fearless House, where they actually went to serve, where they give out food, they give out clothing, they give a smile, all those good things. So when I saw them on the front page, I mean, these will be like my babies, like the babies in Islam, less than 3 months. And they're already out there. They already
And on the cover,
on the cover, right?
Right?
Way to do it, you know. I mean, they were just so excited. They're getting like texts saying, "Did y'all know? Did y'all know? Did y'all want to cover up the Final Call newspaper?" By the way, this is big news because this is like the greatest newspaper for our community and beyond.
Black
So,
owned, black operated, distributed
black published,
all
and
over the
distributed
world.
all over the world.
And black distributed. Right?
Exactly. So it's a mother and 3 daughters. They all came in at the same time and changed their lives. And so they're here with, of course, with our other brothers and sisters, you know, doing acts of kindness. So I'm just very excited to have been a part of their life and looking at them represent the teachings of the Most Powerful Elijah Muhammad so well.
That's great. Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. So, acts of kindness. Let's dive right in. Usually we go page by page, but we may take a little bit of different approach this time because, you know, we can do what we want, you know what I'm saying? Will any particular articles stand out for either one of you in this week's issue? I say that because I just heard Sister Kavah say, "Oh, let me mark that one."
Well, you know, talking about that feminine energy, and you know, so on one end we have these beautiful sisters who were able to be redeemed and able to present acts of kindness, and then and that's one begins on page 3, but when we go 10 pages later to page 13. We see increased human trafficking, women and girls targeted. And so this is talking about women and girls in Guyana, Georgetown, Guyana, being targeted for human trafficking. But we know that Atlanta is one of the highest places where human trafficking of women and girls take place. Right. And so this article, you know, is always something that, you know, we need to be aware of and look into, and thank Allah that we in the Nation of Islam are taught, and the brothers are taught, you know, to respect, protect the black woman. But we have to do more. And so we bring this information so that the world can understand that this is an epidemic that is going on in terms of our young women and our young girls, and something that we have to be aware of and that we absolutely have to put a stop to.
Right. Absolutely. Right. And this article was came out of the United Nations, from the United Nations report as well. So it is and has been for a long time a global issue. As a matter of fact, in the article, when you get your final call on page 13 of the final call, it shows the representation, for the lack of a better word, of different countries around the world and what type of exploitation that's most prevalent in those particular areas of the world. And unfortunately, sexual exploitation is prevalent on this map. In every country on the continent, sexual exploitation is prevalent. And then the next biggest one is forced labor trafficking. So yeah, definitely this is a good article to take a closer look at, so we can be, because I must admit, you know, I'm thinking about, this is not like, I'm not exposed to this in most of what I do, so without me reading it in the final call, it is not really top of mind. So I want to thank the editor, Brother Richard Muhammad of the Final Call, for putting articles like this so that those of us who are not in this particular arena can be more aware. So, doing a lot of traveling, we do see a lot of signage now that's showing people, like in the airports and the bus stations and places like that, how to identify if someone, especially a young female, looks like they're being exploited. They're taking them across state lines to go and work or do whatever they're doing with them. So it's definitely something we need to stay abreast of.
And I wasn't aware of this, that if you go to a Quick Trip gas station, if you let the cashier know that you're in a situation, a dangerous situation,
okay,
they
good.
have a place to hold the females until the police come to make sure that they are safe.
Because they do have the signs out front of the
Right.
Quick Trips that says
That's right.
safe place.
Safe place. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
So,
okay,
that's something to keep on the front of the mind.
Yes,
But
yes.
and it's interesting that type of article will be in the final call dealing with love, because what person loves something that they won't protect? I mean, if you have values, you got diamonds and jewelry, you keep them in the safe. You keep them, locked away. You keep them from, access from everybody. So, that's something that is a key of how much you love something and
Right.
the way that you protect it. So we have to make sure that we're protecting our women and children as taught. And that doesn't go just for those who say they are Muslim. Every human being who is aware, the elders of the young of the old, we have to be mindful that we have to protect our community. Ain't nobody gonna do it with us.
That's right. And that's part of that love too. I heard Minister Ava say this years ago, and I didn't understand it at the time she said it, but the more I thought about it and experienced life, she says that we love that which we serve.
Right.
Because she said it differently than what I thought would have been. You love what you serve. Love-
Instead of
Yeah, you serve what you love.
Right.
Right. So that's part of this. If we're going to show acts of kindness, not just to those that we know and have an
Right.
affinity for, it's broadening.
Right.
Because we never know what other people are going through. So we just take the time out to listen and, I say, offer a kind word, a kind gesture, then we can begin to change the reality that we're living in. So going along with that article, sadly on page 4, we all heard about the young sister with the car pulled up in Houston, was it?
Yes.
In Texas, yeah, and the beautiful little sister was murdered. And come to find out it was a couple of young brothers.
Right. And initially, as they reported to the news, they thought it was a Caucasian male. Later it came out that it was two young black men
young
who
brothers,
were arrested.
20 years old.
And mix up, but at the end of the day, brothers, I'm with you that even with the mix up and the racial card is not as important as us being able to protect our young girls while we live in a society that this is sad to say, but this isn't foreign. We see this too often. It's not even foreign, which it should be.
Right. So our prayers go out to
Jasmine Burns'
little
family.
sister Jasmine, her family, and loved ones, and others. Unfortunately, there are others who have been that don't make the news. Right. This one made the news because it came off initially thought it was a hate crime, but that's why it made. But I don't want to say but. It was looked at as a hate crime. Fortunately, it did get national attention, and the perpetrators were caught relatively quickly. Now, but that's another family. Those families that are ruined because the brothers are looking at either life in prison or the death penalty.
Well, the thing about it, when we say hate crimes, that is whether it's a Caucasian or a black person.
Right.
When a black person kills yourself, your sister, your little 7-year-old sister, that is a hate crime. It's a hate against yourself, first of all, and then that portrays or proliferates our community. And so the cover being talked about love, we have to learn what is the true meaning of love, because if we understood what the true meaning of love and loving ourselves, then hate crimes would cease to exist. They would cease to exist.
Beautifully said. So that, looking at how all of these articles tie into each other. Page 19 is one of my favorite pages in the final call. it's always an article from some of the writings or sayings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. So this essay is entitled First, Love Yourself. And it starts out with what Sister Kavat just said. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, one of the gravest handicaps among the so-called Negroes is that there is no love for self. No love for his or her own kind. This, not having love for self, is the root cause of hate. Quote, in parentheses, dislike, disunity, disagreement, quarreling, betrayal, stool pigeons, and fighting and killing one another. That's what we just...
How much weight is in that statement?
Man.
You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of weight in that statement.
How can you be loved if you have not loved for self?
Right.
So yes, Brother
He
Rashad.
said, hate, disunity, disagreement, quarreling, betraying, stool pigeons, fighting, and the killing one another.
Yeah.
I can't find something that's troubling our community that he didn't touch in
That's
that.
right. That's right. And then what it boils back down to, lack of love for self.
That's all. Love for self, yeah.
So 99% of our problems could be solved if we just began to love ourselves. And when we begin to love ourselves, then Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that we begin to unify. And when we unify, he said our unity in Message to the Black Man is more powerful than a hydrogen or an atomic bomb.
Yeah. And you know something I'm learning as you used earlier, as I'm living more and I'm learning more, that unity is not necessarily uniform.
Yes.
And that's something I think that has to be said to the community, because a lot of people feel like they can't join on to the Nation of Islam because they're not a registered Muslim. You can't join on to the 10,000 Fearless because you don't go to one of those facilitating houses. But that's not true.
That's right.
You know, you can join on to us in doing good, and at random acts of kindness, you have joined yourself on to us.
That's right.
You understand? So that's something that I think.
So you are invited
Well,
to join on.
reading a little more in the article, it says, talking about the Bible, because we just said, you know, you may be Christians and you may think that you can't join on, but it says the Bible puts more stress upon the love for thy neighbor than the love for the brother. When asked, who is my neighbor, the answer was contrary and incorrect. Jesus' answer was that of two men who were on a journey. They were not from the same place. One was from Jerusalem, the other one was a Samaritan. The Samaritan came to where the man from Jerusalem lay wounded by the robbers who had stripped him of his possessions. The Samaritan showed sympathy for the fellow traveler. He is not a neighbor in the sense of the word. So a neighbor might be the person, your Christian brother or sister who sits in the pew next to you, or my Muslim brother or sister who sits in the pew for me. But the Good Samaritan goes to one who has been slain, one who needs that sympathy, one who's been hit in the head and robbed and taken all of their possessions. And so certainly, you know, Jasmine would have been someone that the Good Samaritan would have taken care of, watched over in the community, because we're all in the community. All of us have been slain, or for the lack of a better word, or stripped of something, stripped of some possession, stripped for love for ourselves. And so if we would just look at each other from that standpoint and love each other, we would help each other.
Excellent point. What I thought about is not, it's tied into the final call, but something that Brother Rashad brought up. Okay, those maybe those that are watching via the different platforms and saying, okay, well, I hear what y'all are saying, but I really have a serious issue with so-and-so, or with this group, or with that group. Well, in 2005, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan introduced to us the 9 ministries. And then in 2016, he introduced us to, 2015, at the 20th anniversary of the Million Man March, Justice or Else, he talked about, he commissioned us, commanded us to go back into our communities and make them a safe and decent place to live. So the 10,000 Fearless houses were established around the country. So if you have issues with somebody, instead of shooting it out like these brothers did, and innocent lives are now destroyed, find your nearest Muhammad Mosque, find your nearest 10,000 Fearless house. You see a brother no matter what area, street corner, we're not all on the street corners, but that's where you may find some people distributing the final call. You see somebody with the last name Muhammad with a bow tie on, with a headpiece, let them know what your issue is. We have been trained in conflict resolution.
Right.
We would rather for you to come to one of us and talk it out and ask for help than to implement some dastardly deed that's going to not just ruin your life, but untold number of other people's lives. So there are things in place, conflict resolution techniques in place to help anybody out there that's going through. If you have a conflict, matter of fact, call me. No matter where you are, we have connections all over the planet.
Right.
So call me, 404-438-3156, and I will help point you in the right direction in your city, in your state, in your country. So for someone to help, because this is how the killing stops. This is how the fight, unnecessary fight. Now we know we got to fight at some point, but you fight to protect, not just fight because you're angry and somebody stepped on your toe and your ego is bruised. But there is a time to fight, but not now, not in the situation you're going through. It can be resolved.
Right. And let us say that there are over 100 plus Muhammad mosques throughout the United States, London, and Africa that I'm aware of.
And the Caribbean.
And the Caribbean. And there are over 100 plus 10,000 fearless houses somewhere throughout the United States.
Right.
I'd like to give a big shout out to Student Minister Abdul Sharif Muhammad for his efforts in help building those community houses. And we don't just do conflict resolution, but we feed the hungry. There are, you can facilitate food there. You can facilitate food banks there. You can facilitate, I want to say, veteran affairs.
Veterans Affairs.
Veteran affairs. A lot of our brothers and sisters have gone over, fought wars for America, and come home to bad situations. And it's always good to have somebody who's willing to fight on your behalf. So if you can find that 10,000 fearless house near you, make sure you do that.
Absolutely. Excellent point. Excellent point. One of the first articles in the final call is dealing with the life, legacy, and reality of Dr. King's disciples. Today is January the 17th. Dr. King's actual birthday was 2 days ago, on Tuesday, January the 15th. America will be celebrating his birthday. It's always the third Monday in January. So January 21st, the nation will be celebrating Dr. King's birthday. And there are all types of acts of kindness that's going on. A lot of organizations that are taking the day off, their employees volunteer. I work with Hosea Feed the Hungry, also known as Hosea Helps, and we have a lot of local corporate companies that bring their employees through to volunteer for our big dinner. Although we won't do it on this coming Monday, we're going to do it on Wednesday. And so the Hosea Helps Martin Luther King Day dinner will be on Wednesday, January the 23rd at Georgia International Convention Center. So tying that into the shutdown, today is day 27 of the government shutdown. It's having an impact on, in addition to the 800,000 federal employees whose basically their primary job, haven't received a paycheck. Then think about when we get paid, what do? We pay the mortgage, we pay the power bill, we pay the water bill. We come to places like Cafe Ulu and buy food and drinks. So it has a residual impact. If people don't have the money, they're not spending. So there will be, you may say, well, I'm not a federal employee. I'm not a federal employee. But my business is beginning to feel that impact, especially with the travel.
Right.
You know, as you all may know, this Professor Griffith's not here with us today. He's in Portland, somewhere on the West Coast, Portland or Vancouver. You know, he's one of the most traveled brothers in the planet, but he does plan to be back with us, I think, he won't be here next Thursday, but we're going to have him displayed on the wall. We're going to get that technology to have him here with us. But I mentioned that because he said he had to stand in line for like 4 hours the other day because of the TSA workers. You know, they're not getting paid, so a lot of them are calling off, and they got to go do it. I'm not mad at them at all. But for those of us that travel, Sister Kavai is an international traveler. So, getting in and out of airports and things like that.
I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So if the Secret Service isn't getting paid,
Come on, hey.
Wow.
That's,
I'm
according to
just
the
saying.
article, yes, there is an
the Secret
article.
Service isn't getting
So-
paid.
Right, absolutely. That's
I'm
an
just
issue.
saying.
So on page 5 in the final call, angry workers condemn government shutdown. There is a breakdown. It's actually on page 32 of the number of people that are some of the government workers that are not getting paid. So more than 13,000 employees at the Environmental Protection Agency have been furloughed.
Wow.
About 5,000 Secret Service agents are working without pay. Analysis by Bloomberg government finds that federal contractors could be losing a combined $200 million a day. Government contract, these are companies that contract out with the federal government.
So I got a question.
Water bill. I was
right,
looking
right.
at this,
The-
just talking about the bills. The
US
federal government owes
DC $5 million.
$5 million for its water bill.
I got a question for you. So
Yes.
at what point does the actual shutdown outweigh the billions of dollars that we're
Excellent
asking for,
question.
because it's going to cost us billions of dollars to stay shut down?
Excellent question. That's right. So that's where you and I have to put the onus on our representatives. We all know that Trump had, in his book, The Art of the Deal,
Right.
he's a bully. So who was it in Dave Chappelle's stand-up routine? He talked about, was it Dave Chappelle or Chris Rock? I forget, but one of them talked about in their latest stand-up routine that came out last year, they talked about how we have been avoiding bullies so long that when a bully came along, we didn't know what to do. We didn't know how to handle. When we were growing up, you had to square up with the bully.
Stand up real quick.
You had to square up. Whether you took the L or not,
Right.
the bully
I was
got
there. I
respected.
represented.
You got respect for the
Right.
bully.
Right.
But if you capitulated or laid down to the bully, they forever. So we have a bully, and this Congress that's now democratically led, and I'm nonpartisan. So
I'm
nonpartisan because we look at them as the same bird, two wings of the same bird. So
Justice Party.
Justice Party. That's the
Justice
party.
Party.
That's the party that we down with. But that's an excellent question. So we have to put the onus on our Congress. When does those numbers? Because he's asking for 5.7. That's for this year to build the wall.
Build.
The wall. Now the wall is going to cost, by conservative estimates, anywhere from 20 to 30 billion dollars if you do the entire 1,700 miles of the wall that he wants.
Because remember, he's only asking the $5 billion is all that he's asking of the Democrats.
That's for this year.
That's for this year. Yeah.
So
This year.
that's for this year.
So I guess, is Mexico not paying for the wall anymore?
Well, see what he said is, y'all go ahead and allocate it right now,
And
then
you gonna
I'll
get it
make
back?
them right.
Right.
He got some magic up his sleeve. He gonna force them. Another sovereign country who has one of the largest cities in the world. Mexico City is one of the largest cities in the world, population-wise, like 25 million people. So Mexico ain't no little lightweight,
Right.
Not at all.
So you just gonna force them. You gonna gangbang them out of 25 to 30 billion dollars. It does not happen like that. So the shutdown is having an adverse effect on a lot of us, not just those that work for the government. I know 10,000 Fearless is doing some things here in Atlanta for those. So if you're in the Atlanta area, again, you need assistance, you can go to the 10,000 Fearless headquarters on Joseph Boone Boulevard, what's it, 893, I believe. But it's a beautiful blue house with the sign, the banner sign out front. And also,
God in the blood.
the Martin Luther King Day dinner that Hosea Helps is producing on Wednesday, January 23rd, will be serving the needs of the community that are adversely affected by the government shutdown. Don't just have to be a government employee, but if you are, you're definitely welcome. But like benefits are not coming through for a lot of people and things like that. So if you need help.
Veterans, I spoke with I was in the T-Mobile and I was talking to a gentleman and he was saying that, he works at the Veterans Affairs and that, people are just getting nervous because like you said, how they're going to pay their bills. They're not going to get their subsidies or
Mhm.
stipends or
Mhm.
you know, and the workers are like they don't want to come to work,
Right.
you know. So
Let me say this. Oh, it's funny that you said that because Trump is asking for those who are not getting paid to come to work. Am I wrong with that slavery?
And they're
I mean,
forcing
you come to work and I'm
certain
not gonna pay
departments
you.
that you must show up
Yeah,
to
you
work.
must show up,
Yeah.
even though they're not paying. Now, and also I want to say this, you know, in all truth, this is a scary time for a lot of people who have not prepared themselves. But, you know, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan have been telling us for
That's
years
right.
and years to prepare for this day because it was coming. At some point, the country could not take care of itself, therefore it could not take care of us. So if you
Good
have the
point. Yes,
opportunity
yes.
right now, I know it's still a little bit scary, but go and put some staple goods in your home. Put some dry beans, water,
food,
you know,
canned
dry
food.
food. Make sure you store your home. That even if the government was to shut down, that you could buy yourself some time and a peace of mind by knowing that you and your family can eat.
Absolutely. And are you still doing classes on how to grow certain plants at the house?
Well, we are doing classes. We have been doing classes in
Mhm.
April. We make it through April with the government shutdown, but still, I mean, you know, Google's your best friend. Don't wait. You know, we do classes, but you can go online and look up how to grow, you know, basic plants inside
Mhm.
on a windowsill.
Gotcha.
A little bit of water, a little bit of dirt,
Mhm.
in the inside or your back porch, inside of your house.
Good point.
So definitely that's something that, you know, we want to do. Be able to put it in the ground or put it in a pot, put it in there and grow something.
Right. Good point.
Got a message for the government.
Okay. The message for the
And
government.
that wasn't a growth segue. But if you go to the Muslim program, which is the last page of the
Yes.
final call,
Yes.
the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, and what the Muslims want, point number 8, he says, we want the government of the United States to exempt our people from all taxation as long as we are deprived of equal justice under the law in the land. So, again, we're paying taxes and we're letting the bully determine what is going to happen with our taxes, even when it's not in our best interest. This is something that we've been teaching against for a long time. So maybe this is the time that the community could go back and revisit the Muslim program. I think it'll help right now.
Oh, absolutely. Back to one of the purposes of this podcast is to highlight the dynamic things that's in the Final Call newspaper. That what the Muslims want, what the Muslims believe has been a part of the newspaper since the beginning of the newspaper. Since its inception. Muhammad Speaks and now the Final Call. And it's always been there. The way we see that the God works, he bring about situations that force us to say, oh, that's what that meant. Been looking at it for 27 years. Now it's beginning to, now I understand it. Now I understand it. Another article that's in the Final Call, I would want to preface it, it's called Loneliness, a Public Health Threat in Older Adults. If you have a grandmother, a grandfather, a neighbor who's older, man, go check on them, call them up. This article is talking, and it's by our sister Nisa Islam Muhammad out of Washington, D.C. It's a heart-wrenching article. You know, the number of people, older people who don't have folk to come and look after them. Says back again, it's part of the love. Let's show some love. Go to one of the senior centers in your community. You know, take them some bean soup. Take them some tea. Come by Cafe Ulu if you're in Atlanta. Brother Ken will give you a great deal on a bag of tea that you can, you know, take to them to make some tea and just have a talk with them. They're talking about how lonely they are, and that sends them into depression. And we know that depression releases a toxin in the body, which further exacerbates the illnesses that they're already suffering from.
I was reading the article. It says here, it says studies show that loneliness can take a physical toll that is even worse than longevity, than being obese, physically inactive, or opioid addiction, and it can cause cancer. So you have people who were once active, now they're not active, they're sitting around, they're gaining weight, they're other than themselves, and that brings on a door of disease, You know, it brings up depression, and they're smoking cigarettes more.
Mhm.
So you're harming yourself in the sense of the loneliness. You just need camaraderie. It says
Right.
that you know, man was not made to be
That's
alone.
right. That's right.
You know,
That's one of the
Social beings.
so being social is one of the hierarchy of needs that we as humans have. No man is an island. No person is an island. No one can just wants to be alone.
Right.
So just have somebody to talk to or just to see somebody. So if you have, it start at home.
That's why
Your
it's
mother,
home.
your grandmother, your auntie, your uncle,
Mhm.
And they
your
don't have to be
father.
old. They don't have to be old.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. They don't have to, or what you consider
Oh,
old.
Right?
Because we're talking about we're at that
Right.
age group down, like this ain't
ain't
old.
old.
Right,
Right.
right. That's what I was going to say.
Raise peeking out, the
You're going to
raise
start
peeking
living
out,
until
right?
you're 75. So,
Right.
hey, man, I'm
Right.
long way from being old.
Yes.
Well, just
yes.
another plug, Cafe Hulu is right up the street from Lakewood Christian Manor. So if you are in the
Okay.
area, and Lakewood Christian Manor is actually a 55 plus, they call it, facility.
That's
where
young.
We have our, right, I know, right? But you know, you have all the way from 55, 70,
Gotcha.
75, 80.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
it's right up the street, and you know, I know they have a program here on, was it the first Thursday?
Every other Thursday.
Every other Thursday.
Senior serenade.
Senior serenade. All right.
Senior
That
Saturday.
sounds good.
So, you know, they can come here to Cafe Ulu, they get coffee, drink, little pastries, and then they have someone to come and serenade them. That social place again. So that's every other Thursday here at Cafe Ulu.
All right, fantastic. Now, moving on to a little political commentary, Brother Richard B. Muhammad, the editor of the Final Call newspaper. I love this brother's writing. But Brother Richard, pull out that sword with the pen, the sword with the pen. Oh, man, his article is called Straight Words, and there was a congressman out of Steve King. These kings always start in trouble, aren't they? You have the king up in New York,
There's always
your
a king,
homie that
you
was
know.
up.
And they
Always
on
starting
Martin
trouble.
Luther King's Day. You
So,
know, all these kings, right?
Your representative Steve King out of Iowa, so you know he's a Republican, senator. No, he's a representative. He's a representative, House of Congress. He says, and he felt comfortable saying that I don't know what the big deal is about white nationalism and white supremacy. When did that become a bad thing? So when did that become a bad thing?
Being
So,
truthful.
he was being truthful, yes.
You know, we get
yes.
upset when they tell the truth. It's like we
No,
want them to.
I'm
you know,
laughing about it.
yeah, 'cause
Okay,
he's just straight
I
out with
thank
it.
them for it. I
Right.
thank them. But we've been
Trump
saying,
done unleashed them. They can say
Oh, they
what they
empowered.
want. They're
They're
empowered. They
empowered.
can just go and tell the truth about how they feel.
What's up,
Right?
so it's a beautiful thing. I see it as a good thing because we've been saying it. Elijah Muhammad been teaching us this for 88 years.
Right.
You know,
Right.
but we don't want to hear it from him.
Right.
So they have to tell us who they are. So in saying that, the black dude out of South Carolina who's a representative, Republican Representative Tim Scott, he is, of course, he wants his fellow Republicans to reprimand Steve King, which they're talking about doing. The problem that we have with what Tim Scott did, he could have just stopped it at, okay, let's reprimand them. But then he wants to invoke the name of the Honorable
Right.
Minister Louis Farrakhan
Right.
as equal to the amount of hate that these people are putting out. Like,
You know,
there's no
they just-
comparison.
It's like they just can't keep
Well, you know,
his name out of their mouths.
you know what it is. Because at the end of the day, they know that the solution lies with the minister.
That's right.
Yes, that's why he's the point of conversation.
All the time.
If he had nothing relevant, he would not be talked about.
The most
They know.
talked
Oh, yeah.
about
yeah.
minister.
Absolutely. He is the litmus
Okay.
test. So I'm sure Tim Scott, I don't know this, let me not say I'm sure. My viewpoint on why he had to invoke the name of the minister with racial extremism is to appease his financial backers as he runs. We understand how this game works. So if he think that they feel comfortable with him disparaging the man of God who is totally opposite of what he is equating him with, then he feels more comfortable with that. Now, Steve King says he don't understand what the big deal is about white nationalism and white supremacy. That's on page 11 of the final call. So on page 10 of the final call, you all remember the little situation that happened in Charlottesville, Virginia 2
Right.
years ago?
Yes.
You remember the brother was walking out, that was in 2017, August of 2017. This young brother was minding his own business. He's trying to get to work. A group of white nationalists, white supremacists see him and they jump the brother, beat him down. So one of the perpetrators they sentenced him to 20 years, but they reduced it to 3 years, 10 months. Right. But when have there ever been a gathering of black people, especially, y'all remember 1995, October the 16th, 2 million black men on the mall in Washington, D.C. How many white people got beat down today?
No, not one.
That's what we're saying. No, not one.
So, but you're going to equate the Honorable Ms. Lewis Farrakhan with these people that consciously act out violence.
Right.
Right. It's like they just put blinders on and they just repeat the ever-existing lie over and over
Right.
again. They refuse to see actual facts.
Well, I can give them that. I'm more concerned about our people that fall for the
That's what
banana
I'm
tailpipe.
saying. I'm saying it's like you repeat the ever-existing lie when you have the actual facts in your face.
Right in front of your face.
And that's something that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said at the Holy Day of Atonement in Detroit just last year. He said, well, if you look at my followers, none of my followers have ever
That's
did any
right.
acts wrong.
That's right.
You know, and when he says my followers, he's also including the followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad prior to, because that's not what we teach.
That's
we
not
don't
right.
teach
Right.
violence against people for unnecessary reasons. So that's something that that's a narrative that I think is based in fear. It's a narrative based in fear, and we have to. What we're doing, speaking to the people, that actually relieve that pressure of fear. No, we're real people. We have an opinion. We're not, we're not these blind followers. It's not like we're not studied, we're not learned, we're aware of what's going on in politics. However, we have been given solutions, so we operate from a different place. Operate from a different
Absolutely.
position.
I'm glad. That's a great point you made, Brother Shah. We have been given solutions, and tens of thousands of us are acting out those solutions in our everyday lives.
Right.
All of us here are business owners. So I heard the word, and it fit right into my makeup because I never clock and punch the clock. I didn't know quite what was going on, but do for self and not meaning by yourself. So stepped out on faith to start my speaking and training business. And it has its ebbs and flows, but that's what we do.
Right.
So, and each one of you have been in your respective businesses for a long time by stepping out on faith. So we do have solutions.
Right.
Willing to offer solutions. Yeah. So, a couple of articles that I want all of y'all to check out when you get your issue of the Final Call newspapers. There are some international articles. Zimbabwe is going through some financial turmoil, and we know the international bankers are always behind what's going on the continent, so they can get to the resources. But there's a job shortage in Zimbabwe. There's an uplifting thing. Former South African President Jacob Zuma recorded an album.
Now I wonder where he got that
I
idea.
got that inspiration from.
I just
That's
wonder
good point.
Just
Good
wonder,
point.
where he
right?
got
Okay.
that
Okay,
idea.
yeah.
But no, China in the 60s going into the 70s, a cultural revolution is more powerful than people understand, more powerful than people. So when Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan took to audio and he made his album Let's Change the World, music is going to get into doors that a lot of us are not going to get into. And that revolution of culture and music and
The former president of South Africa, yeah, Jacob Zuma.
we will see 10, 15, 20 years down the line how that will have an effect.
Right, because his
on
songs
people
are
in South
based upon what they were going through during the anti-apartheid
Right,
struggle.
exactly. So let's see what 20 years down the line will hold for the people who are under the influence of the Let's Change the World album.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And those of you who are interested, what Brother Rashad showed was the page Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan over a 14-year period recorded a whole lot of music,
Powerful.
very powerful music. You can go to LCTW, Let's Change the World Music.com. Let's Change the World Music. And he got the title from Snoop Dogg. Snoop Lions. Yeah.
Brother Snoop.
Brother Snoop.
Like,
Brother Calvin.
Right,
Brother Calvin
right,
Brothers.
right,
Yeah,
right.
Brother Calvin Brothers. Right. Brother Calvin wrote a song at the behest of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan called Let's Change the World. The minister gave him an assignment. And he came back. He said, just like that,
Right.
in a matter of minutes, with the song called Let's Change the World. So the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, that's what I'm going to name my album.
And you know,
Let's change the world.
it's just like the revolution of the act of kindness. People sometimes question Minister Farrakhan's way, but this is a well-studied man, a well-traveled man. And he's seen what these type of revolutions can do throughout the earth.
Mhm.
You know, we don't necessarily have to pick up a gun to get change if we hear and obey what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's acts.
Right. Because it's a technique. In the Holy Quran, it talks about, Allah says, your ways are not my ways. My ways are not your ways. You know, so what some would think, well, we need to do, okay, you pick up the gun. Who's making the gun? What do you need to fire a gun? For it to be effective. I mean, you can throw the gun, but it ain't gonna go far. You need
That's
bullets,
right,
right?
that's right.
Who makes the bullets?
Right.
When you run out of bullets, what you gonna do? Hold up, time out. Can I get another 50,000 bullets from you?
Beyond that, you know, are we producing clean water? Are we producing clean food? So how you gonna go to war, you know, 2 days in, you hungry.
Yeah.
They cut off your water supply, they cut off your food, you're hungry.
And check this out. Professor Griff, I remember he talked about this like 10, 12 years ago. But these people have gotten advanced, right? Weaponry. Now they're using weapons where they're using sound to immobilize you.
Right.
So they can set up a radar a mile away. Turn that bad boy on, you can't do nothing. You can't move. You wonder what's going on.
Right.
So they don't need the physical stuff. So that's why we have to use a different tactic. And that tactic is love.
Love.
Right.
That tactic.
That tactic is love. Man, what manner of man is this? As Brother Abdul Sharif Muhammad would say.
Right.
All right, now, as we close out, one article. I'm gonna throw Sister Kavah under the, well, 2 articles. You must read the center article by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. What is love? What's the meaning of love? The meaning of love, and this was originally posted on September 11, 2001. Wow, didn't realize that. But that was a Tuesday when the paper came out.
Right.
That Tuesday morning, I remember like 9:07 when that tragedy happened. Yeah, but
Wow.
the title of the article was "The Meaning of Love" that day. Wow, that's interesting. Like I said, we can do an article, we can do a show just on the ministers.
Right.
That's a hit for somebody out there. We don't have to do them all, but we can do an article, do a show just on the minister's article alone, because it's so pregnant with meaning and with words. So that one, as well as one I want to get to, you know, hopefully our sister can give us some insights, because she traveled the world with Mother Tanetta Muhammad. Mother Tanetta's article unveiling the number 19. This is a reprint from volume 30, number 34, which approximately 7.5 years ago, because we're at 38:16, so about 7.5 years ago, this article came out, and it's entitled "The Work of the Hypocrites Being Made Manifest in the Hour of the Final Judgment of This World." Love Mother Tanetta's article, but she's so insightful, and she definitely opens your mind up to some things that, like, oh, I never knew that. Not only never knew it, never thought to think about it, if that makes any sense. Until really, like, oh wow, let me look at that. And that's why I love Minister Jabril's article as well, because they definitely open up your mind to expanding your thought patterns. So any insight that you would like to share with us, Sister Kabal, on your world travels with Mother Tanetta Muhammad?
Well, I just would like to say that I absolutely love, and I say love without the D, absolutely love Mother Tanetta
Yes, ma'am.
Muhammad
We hear you.
and all that she shared, I use the word shared, with me and with us, and those who traveled with her and those who were touched by the articles that she wrote for many, many years in the Final Call. And just the title is The Work of the Hypocrites Being Manifest in the Hour of the Final Judgment of this World. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to recognize that we are definitely in the final hour, and that, hypocrites are amongst us. Hypocrites are those who say they believe as we believe, that they want what we want, that they are with the program that we are with, but they are not. And, most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that any of us can turn hypocrites
Overnight, yes.
So when I look at the article and I just think about the travels, it's a journey. So when he talks about, she says it right here, when I began my last journey from Mexico to Los Angeles, then to Phoenix, and on to Chicago, and finally to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and ending in the Bahamas, and entering in unsettling circumstances of a test were in the works. So as we are traveling on our journey, whether we're leaving the country, whether we're here in the United States, we know the time, and we have to know that those who may join us in a journey may overnight may be hypocrite because of a hypocritical thought, because they can't last throughout the journey because of our own self-desires, our own self-wants, what it is that we want. The final judgment is with Allah.
Right.
So when she talks about the hypocrite within this particular article, brother wanted me to name names. He was talking about what was he talking about? Brother who? Brother
Steve Coakley.
Brother Steve Coakley.
Brother, y'all remember Brother Steve
you
Coakley,
know,
the dynamic researcher out of Chicago?
Right. That
He
he
used
would
to name names.
He would name names. I don't have any names. Allah knows, who in terms of names. But what I do know is in terms of deeds and thoughts.
Right.
And so any one of us, we in this final hour, and that's why I believe that as we printed, we have to watch our thoughts more than anything. We have to watch our deeds based on our desires, because any one of us in a journey can turn hypocrite.
Mhm.
And then those of us who are on a journey, and sometimes we're at the forefront of a journey, we have to then also be able now to recognize the hypocrite in this life. And what? So that's the D, the God. Because she gets very specific about visitors in her home who are also members of the Methodist coffee team. So who are we allowing in our homes in this final judgment, in this final hour? So I think that, we have to really look at this and just understand that, anything that is done in the physical is first done in the spiritual.
Right.
And Mother Tanetta, as we all know, is a very, very, very spiritual woman. And so we have to just look at that and to understand that we are spiritually at war with ourselves and at war with those who say that they're with us.
Right.
Now notice this is Mother Tanetta's article, but really the picture on it that she chose to go aside of it is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So when we talk about hypocrites coming into our homes, what's going on with the Nation of Islam and hypocrites that may be in our home, in our mosque area, right amongst our ministry. So that's why it's very, very, very important that we do less talking, and Mother Tanya will always talk about chatter.
Mhm.
Less talking, more listening.
More listening, right?
You know,
Working.
more working, and you know, not be pulled in because these people like a Tim Scott or you know, we didn't. I see it was in here, but you skipped over it. So
Which
I'm not
one?
gonna
No.
mention
I
it.
just.
The surviving R. Kelly.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So
I probably
you know,
did intentionally
yeah,
do
that's what I
that.
said, right? So that's because we talked a lot, you know what I mean? And it talks about the final judgment. Allah has the final judgment, and we have to, you know, be a little more quiet, do a little more work, love a lot more, give a lot more acts of kindness, and that's just all that I.
Because I see Sister Kaval with the less chatter. Let me preface about what Mother Tarnetta wrote. You started off with the rest of that paragraph is, little did I know that some of the hypocrites will be made manifest under the guise of good intentions for the believer through deception and misrepresentation of truth and a business venture using satanic schemes. Wow.
And you know what's so this is one of the things that I've learned to do is to step back and, you know, the teachings are the actual standard.
That's right.
And a lot of times we judge people based off of our own likes, our own dislikes. But the teachings are actually the standard.
And you have that
the more
standard.
that you know, the more of that you give a good looking glass to judge someone.
That's right.
Because,
That's right.
okay, it's not just on what I feel. We're taught thus and thus and so and so.
Right.
You know, we're taught such and such and so and so. So when you go to, I see people, for instance, we were talking about the R. Kelly situation. Well, yeah, well, did anybody ever take in consideration that our spokesperson have already touched on that?
Right.
So does your, put your feelings aside, and do your feelings agree with what he said? Okay? He gave, so that's what I'm saying is he gives us tools and solutions. He says go to the Dianetics training.
Right.
All right. So a lot of people, you know, we caught flack for going to the Dianetics training. Okay, the Muslims are now becoming Scientologists, but he knew maybe he saw down the wheel time
Yes.
far enough to say that
Yes.
look, we're going to be dealing with something that's sensitive enough that all of America is going to
That's
have to
right.
look at this. Human
That's
trafficking is something, and child abuse, I'm gonna use that language, child molestation is something that the human family is going to have to look at. But are you at a state enough mind? Are you at a state, stable enough mind to deal with that without prejudging, without bringing
Being
to the
able to
table?
see it under the correct lenses. That's what
Exactly.
because we get caught up in emotion. Not to say that we shouldn't, but we misjudge something. And when you misjudge it, we're more than likely going to give the wrong remedy. So
Right.
with my take on, as Brother Rashad said, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has spoke on it. He's dealt with our brother. He gave him an assignment. That's what the minister does. What I want to caution us about is that one man is not the bane of evil existence in the world. Meaning that if you got rid of him, everything now all evil is gone. That's what I want to caution. Because that's kind of language that's coming out. And if you just stop listening to him, his music and okay, that's one person, but that's a culture. That's an act. We saw the map at the beginning of oh yeah, ain't nobody stopped going to the Catholic Church, right? All of their priests.
And that's what I'm saying. If we're going to be commissioned to be God, that's ultimately what we are, right? If we're going to be commissioned to be God, then you have to be Lord of all the worlds. You can't be just Lord of black affairs. You know what I'm saying? We have to be have freedom, justice, and equality for all people, whether they're black, white, purple, or otherwise, whether they agree with our teaching or not. And the flag of Islam, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says that the flag flies for those who want freedom, justice, and equality. They could be a believer or a non-believer. So are you going to be able to execute justice for the non-believer? Or are you going to go with your, you know, well, hey, we don't do that. You know, that self-righteous. Matter of fact, I think Minister Farrakhan just tweeted the other day something along that line. You know, we got to look at ourselves a little bit better before we go to trying to save people and we're judging them while we're in the process of trying to save them.
Excellent point. So, Brother Rashad and Sister Kaval dealing with I got y'all talking about the mental. So part of that health is the key. How to Eat to Live. You must get How to Eat to Live book 1 and 2. You must. That should be a part of your library. Message of the Black Man, How to Eat to Live book 1 and 2 are must-haves to start your library out. So I saw this, and Brother Shah and I were talking earlier, but I've read this probably 115 times over the years, but it just stood out to me. The swine was not made for black people. It was made only for the white race.
Wow.
That's
Yes. No, we got it.
And the white race teaches everybody to eat it because it is a divinely prohibited flesh. And they break all the laws of God because they are not supposed to obey the law of God. They have their own law because they are the gods of this world. If they would follow and obey the law of our God, they would be Muslims like us.
Our God. Right? And Muslims, what is Muslims?
One who submits him or herself entirely to do the will of God.
Okay. That's what we're talking about.
It's an
Find
Arabic
all.
word that means.
Right.
So no
Submission
matter
to the
what
will of
title
God.
you go under,
That's right.
if you're striving to submit entirely to the will of God, you are that. You're obeying God.
That's right.
You're obeying God.
Something very key in that. He said that even if they were to submit, they
That's
would
right.
be Muslims.
Yeah.
Prophet Muhammad, being a sign of that, was a man who submitted himself to the will of God and was even utilized as one of the best prophets to ever come down.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, any other closing ones? Oh, yeah, that's my favorite one. Economic Blueprint.
Government shutdown. The minister has been saying it for how long that we needed an economic blueprint.
Economicblueprint.org.
Food, clothing, housing, industry, jobs. We must have land.
Simple mathematics.
Simple
5 cents a
mathematics.
day.
5 cents
35
a day.
cents a week.
You know?
$1.40 a month. $18.20 a year.
Look at what the name.
So if 16 million of us who earn some type of money will contribute that $18.20 a year to the economic blueprint.org, that would give us $291,200,000 every year. We can buy whatever we want with that. We can fund every black organization's budget out of that. But more importantly, we can buy land so that we can produce the things that we need
That's right. That's right.
to be viable and sustain. Only 5 cents a day. I mean, it's like, that's a no-brainer for me. 5 cents a
5
day.
cents.
Only 16 million of us. It's supposed to be 30 to 40 million. So we ain't even looking for everybody. Just a third.
Right.
Just a third of us.
That's right.
So you can be that third. Economicblueprint.org. And I can't wait. Savior's
There you
Day,
go.
February
That's
15th through 17th, Chicago, Illinois. We are, inshallah, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan will be speaking from the United Center on the west side of Chicago on February the 17th. So you join us there, or you make sure you go to noi.org, and you definitely want to watch this timely message from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So as we close out, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for spreading it. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the NO, which is #1 program on YouTube. If you're watching us via the Facebook platforms that we're on, go to YouTube, #1, that's NO, the #1 program. Like and subscribe and notify so when we come on that you can get this. If you have ideas for shows that you want to do, hey, we just say go for it. That's all we do. Set up the camera and let's start talking. But we can striving to do this every Thursday. We'll be here at Cafe Ulu, or if there's a business that you want us to come to, or would like the brothers and sisters to come to broadcast from your business, we're open for that. You can email us. Which you want to give them your email address, Brother Sean?
The number one program for you at gmail.com.
The number 4 or the word 4?
The number 4.
The number 4.
You.
NO1 program for
You.
YOU at gmail.com.
No. Number 1 program for you, the letter U.
The letter U, got you.
gmail.com.
Okay. The letter U, gmail.com. Okay. Fantastic. And you can catch us Mind and Money Matters live show every Monday, 6 o'clock p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Mind and Money Matters live show on YouTube, as well as at Mind and Money Matters on Facebook. There's myself, Sister Shireen Muhammad, Sister Sandy Muhammad, and this month we're highlighting the Ministry of Information. Next month we'll highlight the Ministry of Agriculture. Sister Kabah, what you got going on? You have Heaven in Me. Is it coming up this month?
Heaven in Me coming up. That's going to be on next week Saturday. You can look it up on Facebook. Heaven in Me Spa at gmail.com. Gmail or Heaven in Me Spa, Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. So next week we bring heaven. We can bring heaven to your facility. Heaven consists of all types of wellness modalities, massage, Reiki, energy healing, chakra balancing.
It's a women only?
Oh no, not just
Okay.
we do women and we do men, because
Gotcha.
we all have to get our energy right in order to sit ourselves as do in heaven at once.
All right. Man, so you put in Heaven in Me, then you gonna pop up. Right?
Heaven in me, listen. Heaven in me
All
and
right.
in you.
Brother Rashad, what you got going on?
Well, hey, man, I'm over at 1985 Campbellton Road, working in the community. I'm a barber, of course, so please come by. If you have any young males that you are, up to your limits with, bring them. Let them sit with us and let them speak to some of the brothers who can guide them and help them join on to their own in a way that you may not be able to do that. Also, with the 10,000 Fearless, make sure that you are able to come over now. Also, at the Atlanta University Center, feel free to come through and patrol with the 10,000
That's
Fearless
right,
at
that's
any
right.
time that we can go through the community and make sure that our children are learning in a safe
And
environment.
we're calling on those of you who have formations, whatever organization you're with. Come on out and join your brothers. It's not religious based, it's not philosophical, it's community based.
Right.
It is having a desire to see our communities as a safe and decent place to live. So you can contact Brother Rashad or call me, 404-438-3156, and we'll make the necessary connections, the times that we're going to be patrolling, and all those good things. Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to say, because we're talking about being safe and making our community a decent place to live. This is for male and female. We have Grandmaster Anthony. who's
Oh, that's
gonna be
no.
in town.
I'm sorry, Sister LaShonda.
No,
Please
that's
forgive
okay.
me.
I got you. Got my sister. So we actually have
Yes.
him coming to town on
Yes.
Saturday to train us. We're not going out there. We're going in between the guns to make our communities a decent place to live. We're not the aggressors, but we need to be trained. Specifically as a female, I'm going to be there. We need to be trained to protect ourselves. Yes, we have the FOI, we have our brothers in the community, but we have to get some training in. We have to be able to know how to protect this life, this body that's given to us.
We want to stick around
So-
as long as possible.
Exactly.
So that's
you
this
give exact
Saturday,
details.
January the 19th. It's at the Brady Center in Atlanta. It is a training, and the training is being led by our assistant Supreme Captain and Grandmaster Anthony Muhammad and his wife
That's right.
are leading that particular training. Is there a contact number?
Don't know what the contact number is.
Okay, you
but they
can call me.
Yeah, call him. Call him. He's gonna get it
Call
out.
me, 404-438-3156, 404-438-3156, or better yet, text me, and I will point you in the direction of those who you need to contact to be a part of that dynamic training. As we all need to learn some modality of self-defense.
Right.
You don't have to become, a kung fu master. However, you do need to know some techniques just to keep somebody up off of you.
That's right.
Yeah, so that's it for me, Jahi, Mr. Communicator Muhammad. We thank you all so much for tuning in, and for more importantly, sharing this and hitting that subscribe button on #1 programs on YouTube, and come out and support Cafe Ulu, Heaven in Me, and Brother Rashad's community, what I want to call it, lifestyle enhancement. profession.
Okay, listen, that's the name of the
I'm
name.
giving you credit for it the first 2 times I used it.
All right, assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Beautiful, beautiful. Very engaging. I like that.